It was early morning in our Minecraft world, with weak, uncertain light. Then everything suddenly changed. A sound appeared in the distance. After a moment, the sound faded away. Not far from where we heard the sound, Steve noticed a cave hidden between the trees. It wasn't deep or impressive, but it looked useful. We stepped inside and quickly found coal in the stone walls. We started mining. That's when we heard something else. From deeper inside the cave came a low, distant noise. Steve came closer to listen. Before we could decide what to do, the siren returned. This time it was outside. Along with it came slow, heavy footsteps. We didn't think. We didn't plan. We rushed out of the cave, scanning the fog for anything that might explain the sound. And then we saw it. Moving between the trees was a tall shape. It walked calmly through the fog, not reacting to us at all. We stayed still. We didn't run. We didn't move toward it. Slowly, carefully, we stepped between the trees, keeping distance. The tall figure continued on its path, unaware of us. Only when we reached the riverbank did we finally breathe easier. A fallen tree lay across the water, forming a natural bridge. We crossed it carefully and found something unexpected on the other side. A boat was old, unused, but clearly placed there by someone. That meant we weren't alone in this forest. We left it behind and moved on, only to find a campfire still burning nearby. No one was there. No movement. No sound. The siren returned again. We didn't stay to investigate. We moved deeper into the forest, passing clusters of mushrooms growing between the trees. We continued through the dense woods, where the fog hung low. Not far ahead, we noticed thick webs stretched between the trees, blocking our path. We used our tools to clear the webs, opening a narrow way forward, and soon reached a low area surrounded by hills. Beyond the fog stood a tower, and somehow we knew our path was leading there. We entered the yard. It was empty. Only a fence, fallen leaves, and a small lake behind us. Too quiet. Then we saw Siren Head nearby. Way too close. Panic took over. We rushed inside the tower. Cobwebs covered the walls. A ladder led upward. We climbed as fast as we could. At the very top there was a small house, abandoned, broken, cobwebs everywhere. Siren Head was still close. So we closed the curtains, blocked the broken windows, and waited. Strange sounds surrounded the tower. Heavy footsteps. Something moving outside. Siren Head echoed. It was terrifying, but slowly everything went silent. We opened the curtains, looked outside. No movement, no sign of anyone. To be sure, we stepped onto the observation platform. Nothing. We were alone. We went back inside and cleaned the house. Removed the cobwebs. Made it safe. Steve even gave me the bed. There was only one. Later, while I was inside, Steve noticed something. He called me over. Handed me a spyglass. In the distance, there was an abandoned building and pumpkins nearby. Then after we looked around, Steve showed me a jump from the tower across the trees. Because a section of the fence was missing, we just jumped from tree to tree down to the ground. After landing, we heard the siren, but saw no one. So we headed toward the abandoned building. On the way, we found copper ore in a small half-cave. And mined it. We went out to an abandoned village. The buildings were covered in cobwebs and looked completely neglected. We reached the pumpkins and collected them. Nearby was a wheat crop, which we also gathered. Once we finished, we heard the siren again. But this time it sounded different. Turning around, we saw Siren Head standing there, staring straight at us. We ran. Steve found shelter in one of the buildings. The entrance was blocked by a fallen tree. We got inside and hid. The tension was unbearable. Suddenly we heard footsteps. By luck, Steve found a passage behind the cobwebs that led into a tunnel. Inside were rooms, grates, and doors, some of which were locked. But there was another door that led to a room with a bed. We closed ourselves in and waited. Someone came down into the tunnel. The tension rose as they passed by. It seemed they didn't notice us. They went past and opened a door. We went through that door and continued down the tunnel. There were a few more locked doors. We couldn't go further. Again, we heard frightening sounds. Steve managed to break one of the doors. We went in and found a ladder. We climbed it and emerged in another building in the village. Outside, we saw piles of papers and documents, and across the way there were scales. Why they were there was unclear. We explored a bit more and found a ledge with furnaces and a large empty wooden container, as well as copper ore, which we mined. Then we heard the Siren and Siren Head sounds again. Looking back, we saw 2 Siren Heads watching us. We ran immediately. We ran up the road past a well and entered one of the buildings to hide. While we waited, Steve had an idea to escape through the well. We went there. I hesitated, but Steve jumped in, so I followed him. We surfaced in a strange cave. We went in one direction, but the cave was massive and blocked by wooden planks. We realized it was better to go the other way. On the other side there was a passage, also blocked by planks. After wandering a bit, we reached the exit to the street on the edge of the village. But the Siren Heads were waiting for us. As soon as we climbed out, they started moving toward us. We ran as fast as we could. We didn't look back. We ran until we reached the hill. Below, we saw 2 boats. We jumped in and managed to escape. We sailed for a long time and even lost one of the boats along the way. Eventually, we reached the village where we used to live. It was already night and everything was covered in ice. We left the boat behind and went to store our tools in a storage house nearby. Then we headed toward our home. On the way, we heard strange sounds, but no one was there. We finally reached the house and saw that the yard was buried in snow. We took shovels and cleared it away. After that, we threw away the snow and went inside. That was the end of our journey. We put our things away and went to sleep. The end.